Ron Clark and Bruce Moncourt are two Canadian veterans who have said they felt let down by the federal government. Ron Clark is a 36-year veteran of the armed forces and the past president of the Cape Breton chapter of the Canadian Association of Veterans in UN Peacekeeping. Until recently, he was a member of the Conservative Party of Canada. Ron Clark is in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Bruce Moncourt is 30 years old, a veteran who was deployed to Afghanistan in 2006. He suffered a brain injury when he and some fellow soldiers were accidentally targeted by U.S. aircraft. Bruce Moncourt is with us from Windsor, Ontario. Hello, gentlemen.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Well, I'm glad to have you join me. I'm interested to know what you think of what Mr. O'Toole was just saying. Ron Clark.
Well, excuse me. Mr. O'Toole is a typical politician. He's turning everything around like we are to blame. He's blaming PSAC. Well, we asked, first of all, Mr. Blaney to come down when he was minister, to come down and talk to the veterans, and then he didn't have the courtesy to reply even. Then we asked Mr. Fantino, sent him a letter, and asked him to come down and talk to the veterans. And, of course, he didn't have the courtesy of even answering that letter. If he'd have come down, or either one of them had to come down and talk to us, we wouldn't have had to seek out someone to pay our way to Ottawa. PSAC, of course, volunteered to do that, and we gladly accepted. PSAC, as Mr. O'Toole says, is not running this show. We, the veterans, are running it, and we will continue to run it.
Why do you think the Conservative Party would risk alienating Canadian veterans, Ron Clark?
Well, I don't know. They're trying to save money. That's the whole thing behind this. But they're spending money in other places. They're taking it away from us. I believe they said $6 million or something like that to run our 8 offices for the year. And they're taking that away, and they're spending it in other places. And I think that is very, very wrong.
And you don't accept Mr. O'Toole's explanation that, in fact, you'll have more access through Service Canada offices?
No, he's full of bull cocky. Let me just give you an example. He's saying that there's going to be staffed with one member of VAC, or at least trained in VAC. Well, how the hell can one member or one person take the place of like 13 that we had in Sydney? It's an impossibility. They cannot do it. And these people have never been trained. The people that they're planning on putting in there, they've never been trained. There's no plan to train them, no plan to send them on any courses. So they're going to be able to do just the basic things. We'll go in there and they'll give us some papers to fill out and say goodbye to us.
Bruce Moncourt, I'm wondering how you see what's happening with veterans and the Conservative Party and the Harper government.
I feel that we're at a critical moment with the issues that are facing the veterans. There's so many issues, but in regards to these closings, you got to choose which side of history you want to be on, the right side or the wrong side. And I feel that we can't wait a year for the election to happen for the Conservatives to choose which side. And in that critical year, we're going to lose more veterans, and the services that are needed are going to go unused.
Well, how does the shutdown of these Veteran Affairs offices affect veterans such as yourself from who fought in the Afghan war?
Well, my caseworker, Mr. O'Toole mentioned about how it was like it's not psychiatrist or you're getting help there, but my case manager has become like a part of my family, somebody that I trust with my deepest, darkest, intimate secrets. Essentially, I don't want all of Canada to know that I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, but I decided to share that because I was advocating for all the other veterans. I wanted that to stay between my family and my case manager, and I trust her emphatically with everything I have. And now she's in London, and now I understand she's a phone call away. But a little while ago, I went to London and to submit a report, and in that trip, I had to pay for my own gas. I had to, I used my own vehicle, so the kilometers on my own car. And if, let's just say the weather was bad and I had to stay in a hotel, that's also a cost that I would incur. So you're basically telling veterans that they're going to have to pay to beg. Also, the Service Canada centers, you're telling the veterans to go take a number, sit in line with people waiting to get citizenship and welfare, and sit there and wait your turn to talk to somebody in an open booth and ask them for help for your post-traumatic. I mean, it's just you're taking a lot of the human aspect out of it, and you're also stalling longer, right? If you send somebody to Service Canada and they give you paperwork and you bring it back, it's just like it'll take longer and longer for the services that are required.
Ron Clark, there's been a loud protest over these office closures. Are there other actions that are upsetting veterans?
Upsetting us? No, I don't believe, other than the government putting out all this misinformation. But I'd like to put the government on notice right now that our next move is to build a veterans war chest. We're going to go to the public and ask for donations so we can continue this fight if we have to. I want them to realize that.
You were a member of the Conservative Party. Were you
Yeah, I
not?
was. My statement was I was true blue ever since I was old enough to hear my father talk about Mr. Bob Muir, who was a senator when he retired. And him being a conservative, Bob Muir, he, my dad really liked him, and the reason he liked him was because he done a lot of things for my father. So being conservative, I took that on, and I said, well, I'll wear the blue. And that ended. Now that the Conservative Party are screwing the veterans, I put my blue away and got my red ready to wear.
Well, is there anything the Conservative Party could do to win you back?
Sure. Open the offices. All of them. All the ones they've closed, open them. And they'll not just win my admiration for them. The rest of Canada will probably enjoy that as well. And maybe they will return their votes to the Conservatives. Because what I hear right now is they're patting us on the back. Let me give you an example of yesterday. This lady stopped me and said, I seen you on television. I said, oh, yes, dear. She said, well, you know, my mother is 91 years old, and she's a vet, and she loves you. Now, you know, that was just the one person. While we were in Ottawa, Bruce can back this one up as well. While we were in Ottawa, people were stopping us on the street. These weren't veterans. These were just ordinary people, and congratulating us and telling us to keep up a good fight. And that's what we're going to do.
Bruce Moncourt, what concerns do you have about this relationship right now as a vet with Veterans Affairs?
Well, the closing of these offices are going to have happened, and we need to go forward from here and try to put aside all party differences, all interest groups, agendas, and try to get the services to the veterans that need it most. And I feel that they're going to continue to fall between the cracks, and Veterans Affairs is in a critical state right now. Myself, I've been fighting a pension for 7.5 years. I received $22,000 for 5% of my brain. This is the kind of stuff that thousands of veterans are dealing with, and there's so many different issues that need to be addressed. And this Conservative government seems unwilling or incapable of dealing with them.
Gentlemen, thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank you for
Well,
having
thank
us.
you also, Anna Marita.
Okay.
Maria.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
That is Bruce Moncourt, a veteran of the Afghan War. He was in Windsor, Ontario. Ron Clark is a Canadian UN peacekeeping veteran. He was in Sydney, Nova Scotia. If you are a veteran, we're interested to know how you feel on this issue involving federal government and the Minister of Veteran Affairs. You can go to our website, cbc.ca/thecurrent, and click on Contact. You can also call us toll-free, 1-877-287-7366.